Alright, time to start chapter 14, which is the last one for the second piece of the DLC, specifically into the dimensional prison.
I entered the dimensional rift, seeking the forgotten
Alright,
one.
Gabriel, you lost your wife, you lost your allies, you lost your trust in the very society
you literally lost your humanity, and mind you, he's still technically God's chosen champion, don't forget that.
Also, you lost your one friend left in the castle, Laura, but on the plus side, she's probably thanking you for ending her cursed existence, so...
All those people
hooray!
That's a trade.
And now you just have to face some guy who's apparently even worse than the devil. Could it get any worse?
The demon would feel my wrath this night.
Like I told you, Gabriel was born to suffer, Jova.
And I would crush his soul to dust beneath my feet. The terrible path of my destiny was now laid before me, and with absolute clarity of mind, I walked that path.
Okay, Robert, be careful, you're starting to sound a bit like the Ultimate Warrior.
At least he has a reason to, unlike the Ultimate Warrior
Robert
himself.
Carlyle isn't that insane to you. And bear in mind, he played one of the most violent people in British film.
I don't remember Mr. Gold to be this violent.
For a moment, I thought you were referencing that time where he played Hitler.
Oof.
Nah.
Brief, Gabriel.
Jovi, you've seen more of the show than I have. Would you consider Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time violence?
Yes.
So is it like kind of like in Indigo Prophecy 2, where he's dead but he still breathes somehow?
Yeah. Basically, gameplay-wise, this doesn't affect anything. You're still functioning exactly as intended anyway. But there is still a purpose behind it. Don't worry. All right, let's
hey,
enter.
Look on the bright side. At least it's not freezing cold now.
Let's enter the demon ruins from Dark Souls. Why not? Oh, sure. For fuck's sake! Great, the Reapers and the Sword Masters at the same time. This is my lucky day.
Only the best.
Hey, at least we're getting new music. There is that, I guess.
Lord knows, Gabriel has more than proved himself at this point.
What a terrible night for a song, Gabriel.
Don't worry, Dad. We're having all the callback phrases jammed basically into Lords of Shadow 2.
Surprisingly, not as many in Mirror of Fate.
No, Mirror of Fate is more contained, for lack of a better term. Again, I'll mention it more when we get to it. Basically, this DLC is more combat focused in general. Aside from actually facing the Forgotten One, you do get a couple of these minor arenas against these particular enemies in order to actually progress through the doors. Actually, I haven't talked about this. Okay, the DLC is actually two different names. The one that we just finished, inside the castle, is called Reverie, while this one, if I recall correctly, is called Rebirth. Let me check just to be sure.
You know what's
there
funny?
We go.
Part of the stream sounds like part of the Flash stream from the CW series.
Do you still watch that?
Oh god, I lost track of it. I can't believe that series is still going.
I stopped after season 3. I was just too annoyed with it.
Oh, there you go. The second DLC, but what we're doing is called Resurrection.
Again, I'm gonna argue that this should have just been part of the
one package, yes. Lords of Shadow 2 is a bit better since it only contains one DLC episode and it's clearly not necessary for you to understand the plot.
That said, given where it is chronologically, I assume you'll be doing.
Yeah. I'm still showing it. Don't worry. And here is the Forgotten One. Apparently, it's just right after chillaxing in a lava bath.
Eternal.
Also, Dej, apparently this is a reference to the bonus boss when you fight in Lament of Innocence, somehow.
It's a reference to who?
The actual Forgotten One. The Bernard family were responsible for a vast number of hideous crimes, most of them involving found sorceries and demonic rituals. The most horrible of them, and them all, was the summoning of a creature known as the Forgotten One, an evil monster with immense power. This entity was the sovereign of elemental plane of darkness, and quickly escaped the Bernard's controlling magic. Finally, the three founders of the Brotherhood of Light fought the demon and used their powers to imprison it forever, or so they thought. Today, the monster impatiently awaits the time of its release, eager to seek retribution against all the leaves.
Okay.
So, this is an excuse for you to have, of all things, a stealth section. Basically, when the Forgotten One is glowing like that, you can't come near him, otherwise it insta-kills you. So what you're supposed to do is to follow him closely, and yet stay away from his eyesight. Thankfully, for most of the time he's too busy, like punching the walls or something, in order to find a way, but you need to be extremely careful. There you go. If he starts sensing your presence, you need to hide immediately.
That said, I always do find it weird how they suggest like, oh, this guy is the real big bad. Like, again, I get that.
It was also answer. Okay, apparently it was, it was done as a sort of answer, because apparently some playtesting did mention that a couple of people did found Satan a kind of an anticlimactic final boss.
Which,
in terms of gameplay, mind you. I guess in a way, since it still uses the same mechanics that Tan taught you, but that was kind of the point.
Oh, and of course the lava's rising all of a
sudden. Now you have a sense of urgency because the lava is rising, so good luck, dipshit.
I guess the lava decided...
Heroes flashbacks again.
I guess the lava decided, oh, wait, my prisoner's not in there, better rise. But, yeah.
My time is gone.
Yes, at long last. But, yeah, again, I did find it weird how the story goes on to say, oh no, this guy's even worse than Satan, because, again, the lengths we have to go to beat this guy are much more than what we had to do to beat Satan, so I just find it weird.
With Satan, it also was explaining the bio that he was, technically in a weakened state, despite having just retrieved the God Mask. In this case, it's a demon and it's full power, so I guess there is that.
I guess it's just, part of me wonders if maybe it would have been better to have the final, and I do mean ultimate climax, be against Satan, which, okay, yeah, there is all this and that. What I'm saying is like, well, given what happens at the end of this DLC, I wonder if they should have just had that happen at the end. Oh dear.
Yeah, that just never happened.
Thank goodness for these conveniently placed stairs. It's almost like they were expecting somebody to come up this way. In a
also,
prison that's not supposed to be escapable.
We're operating on convention's convention, so the wood is not really getting burned by the heat.
Honestly, Tio, that's like the least of Gabriel's worries in surviving what should not
Come on, I just want to grab stuff.
Come on. Oh, thank you.
There we go. Oh no.
Oh, you were hiding down there. Wanted another lava bath?
Dejimon is almost there. Hide now. Nothing to see here. There we go.
Don't want to see but me no Belmont.
Yeah, nobody here but us Belmonts.
Yes, by the way, the Forgotten One is actually does have a voice actor. I will mention him later. Oh great, now I have to dodge the breeze.
Lovely. At least the lava's been kind enough not to rise.
Much like in most of these situations, always try to be on the center kind of column between the three, because that's the most strategic way to position yourself.
Man, I love Mario Party.
Oh no.
Oh, the irony.
Just like that?
Well, no, it doesn't. No, remember, the lava does nothing to him.
Yes,
What
remember,
it
the
means
lava
is
was
that
where he came from.
What it means instead is when now the stealth is kind of reversed. So now you have to move the fuck up, otherwise it will notice you.
And that would suck.
It's actually kind of...
Lava would be just taking a bath in him.
Pretty much. Oh dear.
Oh, hello. Shit! Yeah, that's what I mean.
Hi, Lord Beerus style.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So yeah,
Again,
don't let him see you.
Nothing to see here, folks. Again, thankfully the checkpoints are actually very forgiving in this section as well, so it's more of a matter of
action. For Metroid Dread now.
I can tell you this, the level design in a Metroid game does work better for like a stealth sequence.
I mean, yeah, Fusion. The SAS.
Yeah. Okay, now, in two specific locations, this one being the first, the Forgotten One will actually have to relinquish part of its powers, eliminating the glowing aura, in order to open the corresponding gate. And this will be the ideal moment where Gabriel has to strike.
Everyone forgets about me. Except you, Portal. You're the only one that understands me.
Gabriel, what are you looking at? The booty? It's like,
yes.
It's like crash into insanity.
Gabriel's coming to destroy that.
Oh yeah.
Swiggy this booty. Well, shit.
That was a miscalculation.
I've seen this done on every TV show up to now. Do you honestly think that would work?
Can't blame a guy for trying.
Yes, I can. I can blame you for trying and failing.
Well, I can just go ahead and shatter your kneecap like that.
Basically, that will be the weak point where you will have to attack for the time being. Because again, the rest is solid armor.
Have arrows, huh? Wait, this DLC come before or after Skyrim?
There we go. His voice by Colin McFarlane. Apparently was Officer Loeb in the Nolanverse Batman movies.
Of the Brotherhood, but
he's mostly a TV and movie actor. He's still getting work to this day.
Unusual.
His soul has been for a lot, buddy.
You will beg for your miserable life.
Is that so? You think you could?
When he was the narrator in the cube.
My powers destroying the seal. Hear me, warrior. My power is unlimited.
You have what it takes to beat the cube.
Look, I beat the devil. You're just practice.
Enough talk. How about you?
I said the line. It's a reference to Symphony of the Night, Dibs. So yeah, for the time being, you have to focus on that weak point. So basically you're allowed to attack on a specific part of his body. But again, compared to Satan, the Forgotten One has actually a multitude of different kind of attacks. It's much more unpredictable, and most of them are actually unblockable, so you're forced to dodge them. There you go. A couple of them you can only dodge by actually jumping, so it's a much more entertaining, I guess, challenge compared to Satan.
Supposedly.
Shit. Yeah, sometimes he does the Shokan taunt for some reason. You suck.
You never.
You suck. Yeah, just play Kurt Angle while you're at it.
And people say Scorpion yelling suckers in the Mortal Kombat Annihilation was a bit.
Well, that's the thing, Debs. Steve Ritchie, the original voice of Shao Kahn, he can make anything sound awesome.
Alright, at specific points, as you can see, the Elvar will become yellow, and you will be forced to do something else. There you go. This like a context-sensitive button in order to create a new weak point. If you fail, the elf will regenerate a bit, and you will have to actually get back to that state. For this specific first bit, you will have to actually reflect, if I recall correctly, the energy ball that it tosses at you.
And most of the time, dude, when people are doing a reference to more like quoting Fatality or something along those lines, they always imitate the iconic Steve Ritchie rendition of it, because that's the most iconic one, because Steve Ritchie was just that good.
Sure, Gabe, I will do it. There we go.
Do this to survive.
Poof.
Don't die, please.
So, which part of the armor we can smack next? Oh, I know. What? How about the back?
Right in the kidney.
Pikachu, the horn.
Oof.
Yeah, how strong is Gabriel?
Again, he's using the gauntlet to break that. Again, despite the defeat of Satan and Zobek, it's still working just fine.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet, but still.
So yeah, this next phase, you're only forced to attack that weak point, meaning that you can only perform jump attacks, because normally your whip cannot reach it properly. Ow. Again, the timing for jumping to dodge these attacks is always different depending on each. So again, you mostly have to memorize the kind of gesture that the Forgotten One does before actually striking. Ow. He still does a taunt occasionally, but it's not anymore for jumping.
I'd say slice off his balls, but
I get the idea that he doesn't even need one. So.
I'm sure about that, Theo.
Maybe he's trying. Maybe those horns are trying to compensate for something.
All right, the next one, if I recall correctly. Yeah, we need to intercept the if I recall correctly. Actually, we need to grab back this. There we go.
Come on. Bring us over.
Boom. Unfortunately, the part that we have to postpone the rest of the matchup because the seal of the first gate is actually broken, meaning that he's about to get all of his powers back. Alas.
Well tried.
Party pooper.
That's not good for us.
No, we gotta hide again.
Call it a tactical retreat.
Yes.
Well, he does have a whip like Joseph Joestar, so
I
yeah.
underestimated you. You are a worthy.
Aw, that's nice of him.
It's not Hermit Purple though, that
You must
Well,
know
at least he's
the
showing...
Yeah, that's why we.
I grow tired of your idle
Well,
boasts.
at least he's showing Gabriel respect
They will be the last thing
by
you will
proving him
ever
as a worthy rival. Which honestly might sadly be some of the best respect Gabriel's gotten aside from Laura.
Which means, of course, now he has to suffer tenfold to make up for that.
Again, it's ironic how the people who respect
Easier
him the
to
most
end
are the people
yourself
who
now,
initially tried to kill him the
warrior.
most.
Thankfully, he doesn't regenerate his armor
suffer.
on the weak point,
That
so...
I can
Oh.
promise. You will never find peace. In light, no darkness.
Cool story, bro. Well, I guess
That sounds like a Kingdom Hearts line.
darkness within darkness awaits you, Rico.
But you see, Joe, you beat the crap out of me, so now I respect you.
Alright, this DLC only has 2 levels, if I recall correctly, this chapter, so let's go immediately to the next one. The Underworld.
Despite his boasts, our last confrontation had proven to me that the demon could be hurt. I would need to be patient and bide my time in order to take the opportunity that I knew would eventually come. I could wait a lifetime for that moment, but I didn't care anymore. I was past that now. Time was my friend, and an eternity of blood, my
time
destiny.
and eternity.
I would make this monster pay. He will know fear. He will taste the bitterness of defeat and look into the eyes of the dragon as his life force spills onto the ground before him. Look upon me, demon, for I am darker and more terrible than thee. I am that dragon, and you are my prey.
Smaller than
Gabriel,
you, more dangerous.
Gabriel, that is nice, but we don't have time for your persona jokes. Come on.
Well, technically scaly in that case.
Stop. No.
Yes. Yeah, more on point, this is kind of another stealth section, only that, you know, to spice things up, now we have to follow the Forgotten One on a single platform on a river of fucking lava.
Just pray to God he doesn't turn around.
It's mostly focused on looking forward, so all you need to do is to try to stay behind that line of sight.
Now he's back to speaking in gibberish for some reason.
It's mostly grunting. There you go.
Don't pay any mind to the sounds of a man grunting.
Now it's utmost important that you actually need to grab this and start to play hide and seek. The Forgotten One starts acting like a 10-year-old.
Shiori, do you remember this bit in the cube where you have to hide from a monster?
Nothing to see here.
Absolutely. It was the best part of that too.
Yeah, I know. The one that Philip Schofield ran away every time. It's a giant dragon in the queue, that's terrifying.
Wait, why did the Forgotten One just
You have to pay him extra to stay on set.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go, Dave.
Ask and you shall receive. That.
It was just checking. It was just checking because now he's gonna use it as a battering ram. Yes, really. And you have to use the QTEs to stay on board. Ow! Poor Gabriel.
Ooh, that one.
My God.
That one, yeah, that definitely hit him in the front. The suffering is not over yet, it seems.
Does he even feel pain still?
Yes.
Gabriel, a bit, at the very least.
Hey, Gabriel's lucky that the Forgotten One
Seriously, I mean,
tries to look down as he put it.
You know, it's a good
Oh,
job.
look at that! There's a scroll there for some reason.
How?
Jova, go
hold on.
ahead.
Witchcraft and sorcery? I don't believe in ancient demonic prophecies of the power of the supernatural, and so for this, I was selected to carry out the will of the Brotherhood. The elders of the order insist that I am chosen, that God grants me special favor. Only now here in this hellish place at this latest hour do I hear the hollow laugh of death. Where is my God now that I need him the most? The following words are scribbled on the back of the scroll. He who is valiant in pure spirit may find his destiny in the maws of the beast of Arg. You are not sure if there's anything called the beast of Arg, or if the knight died while writing this. Oh my God.
Cheeky. But the biggest question, how did you got here? Really?
Not just that, Tale. You're telling. He literally said that he doesn't believe in magic and the supernatural. Dude, do you know which universe you live in?
I guess he's
Also,
really
I
like
was,
Dr. 13.
I was gonna say earlier, it's a good job though. It's a good job, you know, the bit didn't actually hit Gabriel, you know, where while that thing was going on. Otherwise, he'd have to give his big boasts like this. My name is Gabriel Belmont. Prepare to die.
Yeah, I'm so
This
done
would be
with
like-
these enemies, so I'm just using the crystal.
This would be like if someone in Diagon Alley said, you know what, I don't really believe in this wizard shit. I feel like it's kind of an old wives' tale.
So Pedro, what did you think of? So Pedro, what did you think of the reference they put there?
Which one, sorry?
The Beast of Arg. So,
And how they
that,
literally
yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
that the guy died while writing it.
But anyway, more important matters are at hand because the Forgotten One is about to release the second and final seal, which means it's our last opportunity in order to give some serious damage.
What's the knight's name again?
It was without name. It's Order of Shadow 2 that actually start giving names to the characters.
Okay. Well, nameless knight. If he was dying, you wouldn't bother to carve out ah. You just say it.
You know, the ironic thing is that the one who's writing about the fact that somebody wrote Ark is dead himself. Hello?
So, round 2? Yeah, round 2.
You know, Gabriel, if you were smart, you would have just attacked him.
Well, we can do this.
Ooh!
It's like you're peeling off the skin of a walnut.
That's a nice hand.
I may have ended him.
I'd make another joke, but I don't want to be disgusted.
Again, it's more of a reference also that to the actual bonus boss that is in Lament of Innocence, which is instead like a decaying corpse. And the more Gabriel will actually peel off the armor of the Forgotten One, the more he will start to resemble that. But yeah, the pattern is pretty much the same as the last one, but again, since it's the arm ready to attack, you can only attack by jumping. Only that now he has a couple of extra new attacks, like explosive spears. Okay. There we go. At least the music keeps being triumphant. Thanks, Oscar, I guess.
On a game like this.
Well, yeah, the hour is still very bleak considering everything. Ow. Seriously, explosives like stalactites or something.
Yeah.
Oh, my arm.
Which means that now we have the next context QTE. Alright, let's see what you want to do. We need to use the gauntlet in order to push that into him, but we need to specifically, there you go, we need to do it like 2 times if I recall correctly. Or you have to do like the explosive rock, like this one. There we go.
Why don't we just... I don't know, I threw a rock at him.
It's a big rock though. Ooh.
Yeah, really look at that. Like it with one eye.
Man, the combat cross really is powerful. To withstand
Da-da-da-da.
There we go, right in the shoulder.
Okay, it was a gift from my mother. You're looking a little exposed there, son.
Man, you look like you need some sunscreen.
I think it's a bit late for that. We need the after sun.
I mean, with all of his light going on, I guess he might.
Oh, in the meantime, by the way, Shiro, in the meantime, while we were we found a scroll of a knight who claims he doesn't believe in in magic and the supernatural. I don't understand what kind of universe he thinks he lives in, but apparently he doesn't believe in that shit.
Needless to say,
Maybe he's just in denial because he doesn't want to deal with that nonsense.
Or maybe it's like the X-Files, like we're like the main
Agent Scully.
Yeah, she's like, no, it's all BS. Like, what?
needless to say, he was very surprised with what he found down there. However,
So I
he
guess
got
that
down there.
so I guess that you're one of those people who want to believe.
Well, at this point, I've seen a lot of bizarre stuff.
Well, no, what I mean is, man, that, again, it's always interesting to talk about people who watch the X-Files and to see where they do stand, because the episodes are usually...
I've never watched it.
Oh, the episodes are usually structured in a way where both sides can potentially be right, where Mulder is generally just that paranoid, or that your cult still might be real. And then the ending happened. We don't like to talk about that.
No.
Don't worry, it came back.
Well,
I haven't seen the movies yet, though.
That's the thing, Tej. That return wasn't exactly awesome.
It's okay, you can say shit.
Alright, next QT. Let's see what he wants to do now.
Well, I was trying to be nice, but yes, that is what I mean.
Ow. And yes,
Right
now you need
will
to
never
use
sugarcoat it.
now you need to use his own explosive stalactites against him before it actually reaches you. There you go. There you go. Like this, you actually have to
And
aim
pull!
properly. Hey, you looks like you dropped something.
Here, take it back. Let me get right to the point of the matter.
Oh, right in the face.
But while you were ahead!
No, you see, he pulled a Pikachu. He went straight for the horn.
Pikachu, the horn.
Oh, that's a face only a mother could love.
Man, a later season had to rectify that moment where Ash and his rival had to team up against two other trainers. Pikachu uses a Thunderbolt as a water Pokemon, and then it goes straight for the right horn. Horn. It's like, yeah, okay. I see. I understand the reference.
I'm still waiting for a rematch against Richie.
No one likes Richie.
Well, that's exactly why I want a rematch, so that Ash can kick his ass.
Yeah. You see, that's the disappointing thing about Journeys. Is like, bring back everybody, bring back best characters. I mean, they're slowly doing that with Iris, Gary, recently Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Let me remind me again. Is Richie the guy who had a team of legendaries that completely
that's
steamrolled Ash and
Tobias.
Cena? Okay.
Richie is the guy who literally looks like Ash, and the joke was, you know how you're playing Pokemon and you're trading and your protagonist and your friend's protagonist look exactly the same?
Oh.
That was a joke.
Yeah. Basically, while a lot of people were incredibly disappointed by Ash losing the X, Y, and Z League in the anime, I will argue they did that all the way back in the Amiibo by pulling that stupid character out of their asses.
Oh god, the first of many.
Oh, now I remember.
That's in every league.
Hold on. Is that the one that has the episode where Ash arrives at the match completely
Yes.
without strength because the Team Rocket defeats him? Oh god.
That's the thing, Tail. They hype up the match in the previous episode, and only like 10 minutes of that episode.
Yeah.
We're not even 10, like 7 at best. Is that
Now remember.
match. It's so bad.
And it's
I think-
so anticlimactic too.
Now, the reason why people hate the XYZ one the most, I think, is because of all the hype.
Ash was
And
so
the build-up.
close.
He
But
literally-
it was like this close.
Not only that, he literally had the type advantage, but he
It's
lost.
okay, Joe. It's okay. He won Alola.
Thank goodness, but
Yet,
That's the thing, Dej.
and that's the thing. When he won that, for some reason, people try to goalpost shift and say, "Oh, that doesn't count."
That's the thing.
Okay. So the reason why a lot of people are like, really, it's because the circumstances surrounding the league itself. Because it's the first league in Alola, so that means anyone can enter, and that means anybody, including. That means.
Hold on. Now or like this is important because now we actually about to defeat the Forgotten One, but Gabriel will have to perform like one final choice.
You cannot triumph here, fool.
Because
You
sadly
have no
the gate has
comprehension
finished to be unsealed.
Against.
And all these lines I expect to hear in the cube.
The seal is open. I'll enter your world now.
Ew.
It will be reduced to ashes, and I shall inflict 10 times the pain and suffering that were inflicted upon me when I was imprisoned by your brotherhood. I'll let you
Nice.
live, so you can witness.
That's very nice of you,
and
mister.
utter failure. Freedom at last.
So Gabriel has one last idea. Like, the keys, but the Forgotten One must not reclaim the power, so... Well, why not? The screaming all over Carlisle.
Right, Robert, I'm about to hit you in the balls. Do that scream.
I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero.
That good
And Gabriel did it! Now it's imbued with phenomenal cosmic powers.
Yep.
So, what do you have to say now?
Now Gabriel has achieved the Avatar state.
Kinda.
Yeah, pretty much. There you go.
Don't worry, just get a weird blade and smash through the
Oh,
Oh
look at
no,
that.
he wants mercy.
He actually begs for mercy.
Mercy.
Yeah, I don't think so. Bye.
I smite thee.
Hey, that was the merciful part.
Okay. So
So, to
finally,
recap, the Forgotten One is defeated, but Gabriel now is technically a creature of the darkness, and now is imbued with all of his catastrophical powers. So the question remains what to do next at this point.
for
Well,
one
by
thing,
that,
get
it
the
was a shadow too.
Not
Well,
quite.
we'll see. Especially because due to this and the fact that now Gabriel is more corrupt than ever, Gandalf's weapon is not really in the mood of recognizing him as an owner anymore, so he smashes into pieces.
Sucks.
So where is this from? Castlevania timeline?
Its own continuity edge.
Yeah, didn't you hear us mention that this is a
So-
reboot?
Yeah, so normally-
in the most nerd voice.
Anyway, normally after this, the DLC just concludes and you get booted back to the level selection. However, I decided to repurpose that post-credit scene of a vanilla game here because now you have the context to know what is about to happen. So enjoy!
Oh, was it Shadow
Ah.
2?
These candles need to be replaced.
Yeah, who lights all of these?
Hello?
Well, at least someone is seeking comfort, I guess, in a dark and stormy night.
Oh man, this is it's a Simon Belmont Smash trailer, isn't it?
So it's actually Luigi.
Heavenly Father, I need your help.
It's
I
funny.
need a new game.
It's funny because in the
sound like
in the
one.
song, it's funny because in the Something About the series, Luigi is technically kind of like of a preacher.
You already got a Luigi's Mansion. 3 of them even.
Also, you got an
What's
entire
a
year.
fourth one?
Daily reminder that the year of Luigi was 8 years ago.
What a mistake that was.
Maybe we'll get another one in
fine.
2023.
Jova, it was Nintendo's worst financial year in their history.
Anyway, hold on, because we're about to also get a small cameo. Hey, look at that ledge! That's the corpse of, I forgot the name of one of the monsters of the series. I think it's Zvidra, I think. The bird with the
Skeleton.
spear. That's an interesting tower connected to a church like that.
Look, it's a hand.
I guess in the end, we really are Castlevania.
What are we?
No,
Some
no, no, no. In the end, I guess the real Lords of Shadow.
was the friends we made along the way.
No, I
And
am.
well, the friends we killed along the way.
Pretty much.
And my wife.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Why is that track?
Yeah, this is. I mean, the great. All the great kind of makes it feel like a bit like the Zack Snyder version of the Fortress
Oh,
of
here we go.
Solitude.
So, who is this figure and what does he want in this decapitated place?
Is it a disfigured Patrick Stewart?
Not really disfigured, Wibbs.
What?
Injustice, but seems Zobek is still kicking despite
An
everything.
unusual hiding
Wait, the
place.
Prince of Darkness?
Oh.
Don't you think?
Look at me.
Zobek.
Yes, old friend. It is I.
I thought you were dead.
Nope.
They said the same thing about me at the end of
Where have you
X-Furry.
been all this time?
Out there. Amongst the living.
Ironically enough.
And what of you? Why have you been hiding all this time? Gabriel.
Hold on, wait for the one line.
Don't you dare call me that. Isn't
Tan tan tan! Yes, this was all of an origin story for Dracula.
So
Dun,
let
dun,
me.
dun.
So let me tell you about the irony of this.
Again, I want to focus just for this because it's not that long either, but
Look at you now.
I'll think about it for your final thoughts.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where did he go?
Shadow, am I? What do you want?
Yeah, why Zobek wants to seek...
Shadow the Hedgehog.
hold on.
Satan's acolytes are
Oh,
ready
that's
for Dejimon's
fantastic.
return. He is unlikely to welcome both of us with open arms. Don't you think? Help me stop him. Or you and I will become his favorite pets. For all
Kind of
eternity.
like in the original timeline. Except even Satan considers Dracula a pain in the original timeline.
Like one of the game overs in the
It is
redo of
time to
King's
get out of
Quest
this
2.
wretched tomb you have made for yourself. Stop skulking in the shadows.
He's genuinely disappointed.
Don't you care that he will enslave you?
Surprise! Oof. But wait for it. Now we are in modern times.
Wait,
Okay, yeah, let's just say when we get to Lords of Shadow 2, we'll have a talk about some of the more
I'm guessing-
controversial stuff that game did.
Well,
Also,
I'm
by
guessing-
the way-
I'm guessing it's a gargoyles type of thing. I'm guessing.
Kinda.
Quite.
Yeah, but kinda, Drova, because essentially Dracula has been for so much that now essentially the entire part of the sequel will have to take place in modern time.
What?
Well, that definitely
I knew that
came
he
out of
was
nowhere.
Dracula, but I didn't know this.
I know what it is you yearn for.
I cannot die. Yet. I cannot live.
So, what's the deal? Gabriel just wants to fucking die at this point, and Zobek said, well, I can. Just help me and we're good to go. Thank you, Robert. Real cool.
you know, all Mortimer Sharp had to do in Twisted Metal to go back to sleep even when he should be dead was win Twisted Metal.
So yeah, talk about having a sequel look, am I right?
Huh.
And by the way, pay notice to the insignia on the right as the camera pans out. It's a little clothing store, but it's called Douche.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
this
my
is
God,
a
yeah.
kind of Kojima twist.
No, you see, the reason why there weren't any cops coming around is because it's New York, so everyone's used to
No,
how,
actually,
how come the book's still old-fashioned then? Shouldn't it be a more modern-looking one?
That's because this is like was the resulting screen of the DLC episode. Again, I just edited on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Basically,
that's
the
your
scene that Tio showed was technically a scene from Lords of Shadow 2.
Again, the
actually.
DLC served to explain how Gabriel became Dracula.
That
Because
is
essentially at this point now he is a vampire and now he has all this power, meaning that he's virtually unstoppable.
That is kind of a weird thing you mentioned, though. Technically, the first Lords of Shadow game never actually does call him by Dracula. It's only in, like, later games that they do that. Like,
Well, no, remember the phrase that he said, "Eu sunt Dracul," which is in, I think it's Romanian or Slavic, for basically say, "I am the dragon." But remember, Dracula's name is a son of a dragon. It means son of a dragon. So there is that. So yeah, basically that is technically your sequel hook. Gabriel has essentially become Dracula himself. And the sequel will technically be about, the number sequel will be about him and Zobek to an extent having to find these acolytes and prevent Satan's resurrection.
well, that's the weird thing, though. Imagine if you got this scene without the, without the DLC, though, technically. Like, that must have been pretty weird, getting that scene.
Still, honestly, I was fucking hyped the first time I saw it, and I generally wanted to wait for the sequel as much as I could.
I'll admit, I kind of always thought that Gabriel was going to become Dracula by the end, even without that cutscene, because, otherwise it's like, come on, you gotta have Dracula show up at some point. Like, Castlevania without Dracula...
I have to say, compared to some other products who were poorly trying to do so, this one managed to hide the obvious character to reveal much better.
It did.
But basically that's it. I will talk a bit more what eventually happened with the development when we'll get to the future games. But for the time being, tell me what you think about the DLCs and this twist. Starting with you, Dej.
What?
Are you still feeling the Kojima's touch?
Okay, so I knew about the Gabriel being Dracula thing, but I didn't expect, it's actually in the modern times. What?
If there's any consolation for what it's worth, Lords of Shadow 2 will justify a bit more the setting by having it still technically a modern time, but still integrating like a Gotham City-esque kind of city design, so without feeling too much out of place.
And the whole Gabriel fought Satan is, it's different. I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting take. I'm curious to see how things go. Maybe it might be fine, but I just have several questions about this timeline. And I know that not Lords of Shadow 2, but Mirror of Fate might answer some, since it's a midquel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
It was technically released before Lords of Shadow 2, but,
yeah.
You could definitely get the sense that it may have been made after Lords of Shadow 2 was started in development, given how it very much does feel midquel-ish.
Yeah. Like the God of War games on the PSP and Vita.
Uh-huh. Mirror of Fate was originally a 3DS game.
Yeah. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Lives.
I mean, for the most part, I was actually really on board with the story being told for these DLCs. Mainly the stuff, the encounters that he has with the villains, especially the one we just saw. Mainly because I really do, because I recognise and really like the actor who plays the demon.
Mm-hmm.
But that twist at the end, I don't know. I've seen quite a lot of these. Most of it takes place in olden times. Yet the very last bit, it was also all of a sudden shifting to modern times.
What did you think of the twist of Gabriel being Dracula?
I mean that I could see, because man who goes through everything and loses everything eventually becomes corrupted. And I could get him becoming Dracula. Again, it's just I'm just not wholly on board with the whole we're in a modern day city thing now.
Oh, Dwibs, you just found out one of the issues people had with that sequel, but we will get to that. Oh boy.
Well, I mean, if it started in the first game.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Tia, remind me. That scene you showed, that was like originally the after credit scene of the first game.
Of the vanilla
right?
game, yes.
It does feel very weird in that regard, though. Again, like I said,
I know that's what makes it so amazing to me.
Okay. Let me put it like this. I think what's weird is like, well, it seemed to suggest that we would have figured out how Gabriel became Dracula in the sequel until suddenly, pop, out comes the DLC, and hell, even the DLC technically doesn't end on him becoming Dracula right there and then.
Well, technically, yes, Jova. It's just that, like it's like the next step. We see the fact that he becomes a vampire and gets imbued with immense power. So the step is like very short at that point.
I mean, imagine if like a Fire Emblem game did that, because that's all olden time stuff, and then halfway through the game it does a massive time skip.
Awakening originally was supposed to do like that, actually.
So like 2021, yes, Tio, and there was a pretty good reason they didn't do that.
No, it was mostly they thought experimenting was not the ideal way to do it, since the franchise was on its last legs.
Now they save that for the next game.
Yeah.
But me overall, I did enjoy the story as a whole, including 95% of the DLC. Again, as like I said, I'm not on board with the whole modern day stuff, but we'll see how it goes in the coming games.
Mm-hmm. Shiro.
Pretty much what Dwib said. We'll see how this goes. It's weird, though. This was not expected.
What,
it
the whole
kind of came out of
Gabriel
nowhere.
being Dracula?
That's fine. Like, that. There's nothing really wrong with that. We'll see how it goes, though. I can't really judge it until we see how they actually handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be it for now.
Pedro.
Well, I personally don't really. I mean, I find it more surprising than weird or bad. Like, technically, this doesn't contradict anything in the internal logic of the game so far. So I mean, it's more surprising than anything. So I don't really mind the fact that okay, so they're going for a different, so going for this direction. Okay, fine. Let's see where they go. I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's, like I said, I mean, if this was a mainline Castlevania game, then yeah, maybe I would be a bit more bothered by it. But considering this is a spin-off series,
honestly, if it were a mainline Castlevania game, there'd be even more reason for it to be in the future, since technically the game latest on the chronology did at the time take place in the future.
It's just that they only have the actual cities for like a prologue or something, specifically the Sorrow duology.
Pretty much.
I guess. I mean, it's cool. It's an interesting direction to take. So we'll see where they go with that. That's
Come to think of it, Tio, what do you think was Dracula's reaction at the War of 1999 when all the countries banded together to go against him, and instead of going with the typical axes and pitchforks, they had nuclear weapons, machine guns, ammunition, all loaded with silver waiting for him? The future
Probably.
is now,
Well,
man.
okay, if I recall correctly, the way Iga described the Battle of 99 was the fact that the residents of the castles, this time Dracula was prepared, and he takes advantage of the turn of the millennium to actually have his power amplified and being unleashed on a larger scale. That's why the forces of the world have to unite against that.
Regardless, though, they apparently fought back pretty well. Again, the future is now, old man.
But what do you think instead, Jova?
Me personally, I want to point out a bout of irony with Gabriel turning out to be Dracula. See, originally, the origin point for all Castlevania was the game starring a character known as Sonia Belmont, who was supposed to be the start of the whole feud against Dracula and all that here and there.
And she banged
Alucard.
See, the reason
irony.
now apparently the main reason that this was nixed from the canon was because that they didn't want the Belmonts to be related to Dracula. And now we've got this, where the freaking Belmont is Dracula. Like, okay, talk about a change of mind there. Oh my goodness. But no, this twist is fine. I actually kind of like it. I do wish that we could have maybe have seen, like, his full-on transition by the end. Like, you know, like, him declaring the whole Dracula thing and all that. I guess we technically still have Mirror of Fate. But, yeah. Again, I wasn't completely against it because, look, even the mainline Castlevania stuff had pretty much gotten to the point where you had stuff taking place in more modern times. My only issue was the fact that it seemed like it was going to skip over a whole, well, at least centuries worth of time stuff that could have happened with Dracula here and there. Which, you know, Mirror of Fate thankfully negated. As for what it did do with the modern setting, I'll discuss that more when we get to Lords of Shadow 2.
You'll have to see Lords of Shadow 2 because, again, that's where the mandates came in. But to conclude, as for myself, like I mentioned, while showcasing them, yes, I do believe still the DLCs could have been just be like one in one block, especially because, again, on their own, they're still very pricey. It's one of the most expensive type of DLC stories that I've seen, to be honest, and
like
it's not really great.
And like I said, they feel like stuff that should have been in the game to begin with, honestly, given how, again, this game is supposed to be...
That's more in hindsight, Joe. Again, it seems that this is stuff that wasn't even supposed to be planned to be in the main game or anything.
Which, again, I do think it would have been weird if we just cut from Gabriel on that island alone to suddenly Gabriel becoming Dracula. Well, at least with the DLC, now we have context as to how his transformation occurred.
Like I said, I genuinely believe that this sequence should have probably was supposed to be a bit more, more lengthy, and was supposed to be the basis of Lords of Shadow 2 to explain how Gabriel became Dracula, but it's just speculation. And remember, Dave Cox did express how he regrets how the studio sees felt like a mistake in hindsight. So this might be that too. But for the actual gameplay they provide, it's technically different, for the stuff that you do in the main game. It does provide a decent amount of variety in both puzzles and combats. The Forgotten One is definitely a challenge type. So there is that. And the twist was genuinely interesting. I actually did not see it coming. Especially,
Really?
and I mean, even before playing the DLC, for the main game. Remember, I was still operating on the logic that I thought that Gabriel was actually the final Lord of Shadows that was simply suffering from amnesia, and the whole game was about the Zobek awakening him so he could actually slay him in person, so yeah, this still works. And it's actually pretty interesting to spice things up, particularly for a reboot. Again, despite everything, this reboot is doing nothing but actually kind of respecting the original timeline and just providing a different take on elements from it. And especially also the modern setting, because, yes, like we mentioned, stuff like the Sorrow duology does take place in modern times. But you still do traverse the titular Castlevania in those. You're not particularly... Okay, Dawn of Sorrow makes you traverse different locales, but it still manages to have a setting that is not like super modern, like cyberpunk. The Lords of Shadow 2 will provide this kind of modern setting, but like me and Jova mentioned, there will be the mandates that will have to be explained as well. But needless to say, I was pretty hyped to see where they were going going next. And going somewhere next they did. So this was actually the end for the first Lords of Shadow. Tune in next time when we do the HD version of Mirror of Fate. See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.